after an altercation with a trackside marshal immediately after he tumbled out of 5th place late on in yesterday's sprint. So will Jorge Martin, with a double long lap to serve, leave Brno as we head to the Grand Prix of the Netherlands at the iconic TT circuit. That's next weekend as our new World Championship leader. As always, though, we kick off our race day in glorious hot conditions. We're expecting ambient temperatures in excess of 30 degrees later on this afternoon when it is lights out at 2 p.m. local time for the Grand Prix of Czechia in MotoGP. But it's Moto3 action that gets us underway in the company. Matt Burt, Lewis Sutton in the commentary box, Jack Appleyard down in pit lane. Simon Crafart and the F1 MotoGP stewards were very, very busy yesterday dealing with the CZECHIA incident.
Quali, we mess. We don't did it as well as we know we can do it, no. So yeah, we will try to manage now to overtake, try to be more in the front, and I cannot guarantee you if I can be in the fighting podium, but for sure I can guarantee you I will be my 100%. Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks to Marco Morelli. Yeah, 20th he qualified. His worst qualifying is 13th since the League Cup, but of course with the penalties he does. Gorman riding for 658 squad recourse. Of course, might play the line in Balaton was his 4th top 10. The season so far. Impressive performances for the 18-year-old. Himself recovering from a rather nasty high side in practice. This on Friday afternoon at turn 6.
Adrian Fernandez starts 10th. Miedrag Couture from Leopard spoke to our colleague Elliot York in pit lane yesterday during qualifying and admitted that Adrian has had a bit of a difficult time building his morale, his confidence and his spirit back up after his first 6 results were expunged from the records earlier in the season. Did do a good job yesterday in Q1 though. He actually towed Marco Morelli to get himself through that Q1 session into Q2, and he starts at the front of row 4.
6th here last year, Fernandez having been as high as 3rd in the early stages. 11th on the grid then goes Valentin Perrone. He was in that incident late on with Munoz in Balaton. That was his first DNF in the column of the campaign. He took the checker flag here 8th 1 year ago, just over a couple of seconds behind Max Quiles in 2nd place. Of course, this was another Grand Prix last year where Jose Antonio Rueda made it a race of 1 in the Czech Republic. As we count down then to this chapter 9, and it's a 59-point lead that Quiles will bring into this Grand Prix. 5 minutes then until we're lights out in the Grand Prix of Czechia.
My abiding memory of last year's Moto3 race here was Denis Folgia, teammate to Quiles, not exactly playing the team game as the two of them were fighting over a podium position. The Aspar riders starting a lot further apart on the grid this time. Quiles, of course, and Morelli this year. Morelli looking to come through and certainly has more pace than his lowly grid position of 17.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see Danish as well. As I mentioned, he was rapid on Friday, quickest in both of those practice sessions. He's been in the wars a little bit this weekend now. Did 12th place for Jesus Rios, a crash at turn 5 yesterday morning, a crash at turn 6 yesterday afternoon in qualifying, but he's shown some potential of late, has the 18-year-old from Marbella. Top 10 in 3 of the last 5. 8th place over the line in Balaton, equaling his career best finish.
And as far as the tyres are concerned, of course, hot punishing conditions here in Brno. Every rider in the field has gone for the medium front, medium rear combination, with the exception of Nicola Carraro, with nothing to lose on the back row of the grid, who's gone for the soft row.
Back in row 5 in 15th place now is Joel Esteban, the 20-year-old Spaniard. He's on a decent run of points scoring form. He's been inside the top 15 in the last 5 Grand Prix, including that rare top 6 at the Italian Grand Prix Mugello, one of only 5 top 6s in a 35 race World Championship career. So here then on a rather revised and reshuffled front row of the grid for the 16-lap Grand Prix of Czechia in Moto3. It's Alvaro Carpe looking for a 4th successive podium finish of the campaign. He's 3rd. Max Quiles, your runaway World Championship leader, 2nd on the grid. But it's David Almanza who has been dynamic, hasn't he, in qualifying of late in Moto3. This is his 3rd successive time he's led qualifying. Almanza on pole here in Brno.
We're set for another Almanza Quiles head-to-head. This is the Czech Grand Prix. 3rd pole in a row for David Almanza. Quiles, the championship leader, alongside him in 2nd. Alvaro Carpe promoted onto the front row due to penalties elsewhere. His teammate Brian Ariarte is 4th, with 2 Brits completing the 2nd row, Eddie O'Shea and Scott Ogden, 5th and 6th. On the 3rd row, we find Joel Kelso, his 6th top 10 qualifying in a row. Casey O'Gorman came through Q1 to join him. Matteo Vitelli, who crashed on Friday, starts 9th. Adrian Fernandez, 10th after he came through qualifying 1. Valentin Brody and Jesus Rios complete the 4th row. Marcus Ariarte, he's in for David Munoz, starts 13th. Then of Hakim Danish, who drops 12 places from his P2 qualifying. Joel Esteban completes row 5. Yamanaka, Morelli and Cruces on row 6. Morelli, a short Q1 exit for him. Long lap penalties for Moodley and Ramerstorfer on row 7 there, either side of Veda Pratama. And completing the grid, we have Cormac Buchanan, Zen Mitani, Guido Pini, who drops 12 places alongside Nicola Carraro, and Rico Salmela at the very back, who also takes a 12-place penalty.
Pole position in Brno of late has been something of a bit of a curse. Nicola Antonelli all the way back in 2015, 11 years ago, since there was a winner here in Moto3 from pole position. That also being the only win from the front row of the grid. Quiles and Carpe are going to try and change that status. Eddie O'Shea was a little bit out of shape there, wasn't he, going through turns 3 and 4. This is how the landscape looks in terms of your championship. Max Quiles, 170 points from the opening 8 Grand Prix. His 59-point lead is the biggest after 8 rounds in Moto3 history. Danny Kent was 57 points clear of the pack back in 2015. That just gives you another indication, doesn't it, of the outright domination so far this year of Max Quiles. He has won 4 of the last 5 Grand Prix. Absolutely astonishing. He's led every single Grand Prix so far this year as well, hasn't he, Max Quiles? He hasn't won them all, but at some point he has found himself at the front of our first 8 Grand Prix of the campaign. David Almanza have done so much on the front running so far this season. But don't discount Carpe, strong in qualifying, and he's on a real golden run of form. 3 podiums in a row for the first time in his career, and he will pose a threat from that front row of the grid.
The title challenge is going to come from someone other than Max Quiles. Carpe, the likeliest rider, 93 points back to Marco Morelli in 3rd place in the World Championship. Carpe, that golden podium run you mentioned, sadly for him though, none of those yet victories. This is his 32nd Moto3 start today, and having taken 9 previous podiums, can his 10th be that almighty awaited first win?
Yeah, unfortunately now, Those 9 podiums mean Alvaro Carpe has the most podiums in Moto3 history without getting it job done for a victory. It was Iagura. He was locked on 8 podiums who never won in Moto3, so that's going to be a stat he's going to want to get rid of, isn't it, Alvaro Carpe? Can he break up the Almansa Quiles show? Because it feels like that has been the story of this Grand Prix of Czechia weekend here so far. Almansa then in familiar territory, comes to pole position. The 22 Dynavolt intact KTM. Quiles alongside him, looking to extend what is already a commanding 59-point World Championship lead heading to Assen next weekend. Lights out, we're racing in Brno here in Moto3. It's a brilliant start once again by the 22 bike of Almansa. Quiles darts to the inside line to try and get him covered up on the brakes into the first corner. Quiles has got the initiative, so too has Carpe. Carpe comes charging through from 3rd place, so Almansa got the initial launch, although he's now got the tighter inside line immediately back through on Carpe, but Quiles has made the perfect start here in Brno.
Yeah, the other top 5 are as they started. Eddie O'Shea still in 5th. The big mover up the line, though, from row forwards, Adrian Fernandez on the Leopard Honda. He's straight up into the top 6.
Well, they fan out further down the field, 6, 7, 8 of Res, Cruces and Rios looking for the tight inside line going through 3 and 4. Fernandez getting busy on the inside of O'Shea. That was a lovely move by Fernandez to pick up the Brit through 4.
They're trying to work out Danish's progress. He has made big progress, already up into 8th place. He's looking at the inside now straight away of Casey O'Gorman, the Malaysian, in a hurry.
Yeah, and we know he's got pace. A little bit of a tap there on the inside of O'Gorman, quickest in both sessions on Friday. Quiles then now through turn 7. We'll see Jorge Martin go through the long lap penalty twice there later on in MotoGP.
Peter Pratama, who also took a 12th place grid penalty, he's also made rapid progress. Started in 20th place is Pratama. He's already gained 9 spots.
Yeah, Danish has been superb at the start of this Grand Prix. Look, he's all over the rear tyre now of Eddie O'Shea as they power down towards the Kevin Schwantz corner. Is the move coming from Danish here on the number 8 bike? Has he got the inside line? Yeah, he's coming from a long, long way back. He's a little bit out of shape, but he sees that inside line. Nothing O'Shea can do to turn in. Some first lap this by Danish.
Oh, onto the green there. He might be careful. Don't attack Adrian Fernandez, but he's only thinking of attack. He might have got a bit of a benefit there by going on the green, coming out of the Schwantz curve. It got a run on Fernandez, and Danish is now 5th.
Yeah, and Almansa in the front briefly. You can just see that now he's made a real meal of it. He's made a real meal of 11, hasn't he, Almansa? He was through Sector 3 leading the Grand Prix, but he's back now in 4th place because that mistake allowed Quiles, Uriarte, Brian and Carpe to sweep straight back on through.
Oh, look at that from Casey O'Gorman around the outside of both of the Grid and Lab Hondas. I think O'Gorman's going to end this lap potentially in 6th or 7th. They were side by side across the line. Look at that in the background. O'Gorman is 6th. So look at that move again, round the outside of 2 bikes into the final corner.
Almansa recovering place, then he's back in 3rd. He must have made a real mistake through that sort of S of 11 and 12, trying to get the drive, wasn't he, up Horsepower Hill, but came out of Horsepower Hill back in 4th place. He's immediately found his way back through on Brian Uriarte.
On board with David Almansa, looking to repair the damage from that error a quarter of a lap ago. You're not going to get through there into turn 3. We are looking back at the moment from Alvaro Carpe, top 2 in the World Championship, top 2 in the race, although I think on our right-hand side we are going to see Almansa taking 2nd.
Quiles then keeps up this perfect record of having led every single Grand Prix so far in 2026. Yeah, Almansa's in recovery mode here. This has been a real strong 2nd lap, hasn't it, for Almansa. Already got his way back through on Carpe and beat Uriarte.
The leading group of what's looking like 6 at the moment, who are putting a bit of distance between themselves and the rest. And you have to give credit to both Danish and O'Gorman, the 2 rookies who've been able to latch on to this leading group of 4. Of course, we've got the top 3 of the top 4 in the World Championship here, Quiles, Carpe and Almansa, plus our winner from Mugello a couple of Grand Prix ago. What a good rich vein of form that Brian Uriarte is in.
Rios has got his elbows out big time. He started this 2nd lap in 12th place. He's got up to 8th on the 54 bike, so a brilliant early surge this from Rios, who's come from the back of the 4th row in 12th.
Well, Carpe nearly ran into the rear tyre there of Almansa, and he had to check up. It almost gave his teammate Uriarte a run at him. The IO teammates worked together very nicely in qualifying 2 yesterday, but I think they'll have eyes only for themselves today.
This time around it's a clean run out of Horsepower Hill for Almansa. He's going to try and pick up a bit of slipstream. This will feel like an age on a Moto3 bike climbing up Horsepower Hill, won't it? As he goes close to Quiles, not close enough though to attack him into turn 13. There is Danish looking ultra strong on the number 13 bike, already up from 14th to 5th.
Yeah, we haven't had any progress whatsoever from Morelli further down the field. I was expecting him to also rocket up the order. He's actually lost ground. Morelli is down in 21st place. Clearly had a nightmare first lap.
O'Gorman's the quickest rider on circuit right now. He's the first and only rider into the 204. This is brilliant by the Irish rider. There he is on the 658 squad records, a Honda, a 204.906, keeping O'Gorman busy in this early podium battle.
It's been a bruising start for the Brits. Both O'Shea and Ogden have been relegated down the order. Eddie O'Shea runs 10th. He's the first of the grid Hondas at the moment in P10, and Scott Ogden down to 11th place. So they've both dropped 6 places.
Fair play to O'Gorman, a bit of a milestone for the Irish rider. That's the first ever race 204 we have seen here in Moto3 in Brno. Now he's all over the rear tyre as well of Hakim Danish, looking to pick off 5th place here. They close up as we come into the stadium section. It's still advantage Quiles. Joel Esteban has taken an early fall. That's lovely by Uriarte on the 51 bike. Set that up brilliantly down the hill on the brakes into 5, carried the corner speed through 6, and then just lunged it on the inside of Carpe into 7. Beautiful by the 51.
Yeah, it's not been a good start for the MTA squad, and clearly a bit of pain in the foot there for Esteban. It's coming through the right-hander of 4. In fact, he makes contact there with a couple of riders. He's on the outside, actually. It was someone sweeping across from that wider line through 3, straight into the side of another rider, and then Esteban was on the outside with nowhere to go.
It's the second time this season where we've seen Joel Esteban have horrendous big crashes. Of course, he was high-siding out of the victory battle in Goiânia at round 2. That's brilliant once again, isn't it, by Uriarte. Got through on the 51 bike on Almanza. Almanza's had his problems with that turn 11 as you start that climb towards Horsepower Hill. That's the second time in the opening 3 laps where he has been picked off. A little bit of a tap there onto his backside, just saying to Alvaro Carpe, let's just calm down, let's just keep this rhythm, keep this pace, because we don't want to try and disrupt each other's rhythm right now.
I'd love to know. I love it when riders do that. I'd love to know what the success rate is of that particular gesture, because I don't think Moto3 riders tend to listen to that sort of instruction. Quiles then leads us over the line. This is lap 4 of 16. Uriarte fancies a crack at leading this Grand Prix, doesn't he? On the first of the Red Bull KTM IO bikes, top 6 still with about 3/4 of a second, although Pratama's doing his best to close the gap. He set his personal best on a 2:05.2 last time round. He's 7/10 back of O'Gorman.
Seeing precious little of Perrone once again as a front-running force in this Grand Prix. He came over the line down in 15th place, back end of the point-scoring places, as Almanza just threatened to send it on the inside of Uriarte on the brakes into turn 3, and then thought better of it. Danish then settled in 5th. He's just keeping a very close watching brief on the quartet of Spaniards directly ahead of him. There is O'Gorman then in 6th, quickest rider in this Grand Prix so far. And Pratama's done some brilliant work, hasn't he, to come from 20th up into P7. He's only 1.5 seconds off the lead.
And he is now closing that gap down on the back of the leading group. You can see visibly how much closer he is, because he's gapped Fernandez, who runs in 8th. Fernandez himself did a personal best, but he was 4/10 slower than the Honda immediately up ahead of him, and he's getting detached now.
Only Uriarte, Brian Uriarte, was quicker on that last lap than Pratama, so the Indonesian has found some serious speed. He's worked his way through quite brilliantly in the early part of this Grand Prix to set himself up for potentially another podium charge. We drop down there now into the hard braking zone for the Kevin Schwantz corner. This long right-hander before you start the big climb back up the hill through Horsepower Hill. Quiles favours that wide sweeping line, doesn't he, through turn 10.
Yeah, it's all about just making sure you've got some tyre left for the end of the Grand Prix. It's a long race in scorching hot conditions, certainly hotter than the Moto3 riders are used to, because they're out first thing in the morning at the start of both Friday and Saturday. They are all on the medium front, medium rear combination though, so there are no outliers in terms of tyres in this leading group.
Obviously, riders like grip helmets come in this Grand Prix. Just to cover off, Ruche moved in Leo Ramastor for 2 riders who had to complete long laps. They have indeed done so. Back at the front then it is Quiles. That's going to lead over the line, and he's getting on with business here. Pratama, we've just mentioned the fact that Pratama was showing some real dynamic pace. A 2:04.524 from Pratama as Almanza goes on the inside of Uriarte into the first corner. Pratama, you can see at the bottom of your picture, has picked off O'Gorman. Well, there's nothing O'Gorman can do about it, because Pratama was 7/10 faster. He's absolutely flying at the moment, is the Indonesian.
Something happened to Adrian Fernandez in the final corner or two because he's lost about 3 seconds. He's dropped all the way down to 15th place. So any hope that Fernandez had of joining this leading group has very much gone now.
Pratama's pace is nearly a second inside of Jose Antonio Rueda's 2025 race record here in Brno. And he's now got through, well, he's wasting precious little time, is he, enforcing the issue here. He's got through on O'Gorman and now Danish on this lap 5 of 16. This is brilliant by Pratama.
Lovely move that again by Uriarte, that inside line, that tighter line through turn 5 and into 6. So Uriarte once again back in a second place. It's Almanza running third, but Pratama is just so dynamic, isn't he, and so good on Sundays. He's had a bit of a poor qualifying run as of late, but when he gets to the business end of the Sunday action and the red lights go out, he's so strong.
So O'Gorman and now Pratama, the only two riders that have been in the 2:04 bracket in the early part of this Brno battle. We drop down the hill, and Almanza's on the inside of Uriarte into the Schwantz corner. It's a lovely move that once again by Almanza. We know how good he is, strong on the brakes. There's another little bit of a gesticulation there with the left arm as Pratama now going through on Carpe into turn 11. He is careering towards the front of this Brno battle.
He's playing a video game at the moment, isn't he, Vader Pratama, and doing a very good job about it. Now up into 4th position. This group of 7 now 2.5 seconds clear of the chaser group, which is led by Eddie O'Shea. There was a bit of a look there for Pratama. There was a bigger look for Casey O'Gorman, who relegates Danish to the tail of this leading group of 7.
Yeah, this is now your podium battle. This is now your victory battle. These 7 are pretty much 2 seconds clear of Eddie O'Shea, who was winning the Battle of the Brits further down the order. Scott Ogden's dropped down from 8th. Gorman had a big high side here on Friday at turn 6, and unfortunately O'Gorman, one of only 2 riders in the 2:04s. O'Gorman's podium charge has come to a premature end here, halfway around lap 6 of 16.
Second big crash of the weekend. For Casey O'Gorman just shows how on the limit he was trying to go with this leading pace. So we now have 6 riders in this group at the front. That promotes Danish back up into 6th place. So we have 5 KTMs and now Pratama, the sole. Honda in this lead battle.
Yeah, and up the hill they go. Almanza then at the front. Here comes Carpe on the inside of Pratama. Carpe got brilliant drive, then he coming out of turn 12. That move up beautifully on the inside of Pratama into 13. Nothing that the Honda Team Asia rider could do. So here's Almanza over at the line then. As we move on to lap 7 of 16. It is now any one of 6, you feel, for the victory. Eddie O'Shea now promoted up to 7th, but he's over 3 seconds behind the top 6.
I wonder whether Adrian Fernandez has got some sort of problem with his Leopard Honda, because he's lost further ground. He's now in 18th position. He's been passed by his teammate Guido Pini, having ran as high as 5th on the first lap. Fernandez now down to P18. Morelli's finally starting to make progress as his teammate has a look at regaining the lead. Morelli finally into the points, and he's now gained a couple of starters lap. He now runs 12th.
Just a little bit hot there into 3 was Pratama. Almanza then still at the front. This is a good overtaking opportunity. Down the hill as Carpe now waves back. Well, after his long lap around the stall for unfortunately, he's not going to see the checker flag in this Grand Prix. How many times in those downhill braking zones for 5 and 10 has Uriarte made killer moves? That's another one. This time around, he's got through on the killer himself, Giles.
Yeah, and he made sure that he wasn't going to defend. He's not defending, he's attacking. He's now taking the lead from David Almanza. I thought he was just blocking off Giles as he goes wide onto the green with that wider line through 6, but he was teeing up a move on Almanza. And in the space of 3 corners, he goes from 3rd to the lead.
switch there though for Uriarte on the front there as he tried to be aggressive on the chain direction, going through 8 and 9. Eddie O'Shea's got bragging rights at grid racing right now. He's having a right off battle with his teammate Joel Kelso for 7th place. Big group for the back part of the top 10ers. Carpe's got the inside line, squeezes Almansa just offline there. Almansa then, who started this lap 7 leading, he's now back in 4th once again, back in 3rd because he sends it on the inside of Carpe into 11.
Wasn't having that. Oh, there's a big battle between the two Southeast Asians at the back of this group. Pratama and Danish, both products of the Moto3 Asia Cup. They're now squabbling over 5th place as the KTM squabble goes on up ahead, and it is Brian Uriarte who's going to lead us as we head on to lap 8 and 16, approaching half distance.
Kelso 7th, O'Shea 8th, Patelli 9th, and Cruz says in 10th place. And points right now for Ogden, Morelli, Salmela, Perone and Rios. We saw Rios as high as 8th at one stage in the early part of this Grand Prix. He's drifted back down to 15th place. Side by side in the braking zone for the first corner briefly were Uriarte and Quiles. Uriarte though, he has been brilliant on the front end of that KTM so far here today. There he is on the 51 bike. Danish was cutting a tight line there, trying to find a way through.
Yeah, Uriarte is trying to pick this pace up. They're now back into the low 205s as Quiles gets a really good run on Uriarte, but once again under braking, Uriarte is so confident in the front end of that KTM. He's going to be very, very difficult to shift from the front of the race with that kind of braking prowess.
Danish eases through on Carpe. Carpe was just a little bit wide, marginally offline there as they went through turns 8 and 9, and Danish said thank you very much. And now it's getting better for Danish because now he's got the inside line. There's nothing Almansa can do about this as we go now into 5. So Danish then, this has been a big lap 8 so far, hasn't it? Half race distance. Oh, that's payback. Almansa said, okay mate, if you're going to send it on the inside of me at 5, you can have it back at 7.
Reminder that Danish and Pratama, both grid penalties coming into this race. So Danish has done all this from 14th on the grid, and Vader Pratama at the back of this leading train, he's come all the way from 20th on the grid. Both incredible comebacks, but they are far from finished.
Yeah, and just how much did Pratama in particular take out of that Pirelli rubber? I mean, he was doing a 2:04.5, so he was pushing, he was on the move to get himself back into this lead battle. Will he pay for that in the latter stages of this Grand Prix? Uriarte goes tight and defensive on the run up into turn 11. Nothing that Quiles can do. Now it's all about who can pick up the throttle and manage that sliding rear tyre as you ask for the power coming up Horsepower Hill. Uriarte got superb launch, didn't he? What a firing out of the turn 11 that was for Uriarte.
It was the first time that Uriarte has been to this circuit. Didn't come here, of course, last season. We've got the likes of Morelli further back in the field, who's always a rookie. He did come here last year. He is now up into the top 10 at last, and he did his personal best on the last lap on a 2:05.6. Clearly must have had a nightmare first lap because his pace is similar to this leading group now.
Over the line we go then, into the second half of this Grand Prix of Czechia. And now Quiles has the outside line.
Wow.
And look at Almansa. Well, he got a bit of a 2-bike slipstream down a short start-finish rate, which doesn't even measure 700 metres in length. But Almansa seizing the initiative, wide open space on the inside. And boy, did he take it. Almansa then picking off Uriarte and Quiles on that run down to turn 1.
Quiles got the better run out of it, though, and he didn't even need to outbrake Almansa. He just swooped around the outside of him, although it looked like Quiles was slightly wide. That's going to compromise his line. Don't move across. We've already seen contact between 3 and 4 earlier on in the Grand Prix that took Esteban out, but once again, he's wrong-footed, and again, Almansa's going to get the run on him.
There's less than 2 seconds between Eddie O'Shea or Joel Kelso in 7th and Rico Salmela in 15th. Oh, they bunch up. They close up, don't they, dramatically on the brakes into turn 5. It's Almansa that still has the advantage. It's just all about keeping your cool here, isn't it? Old Carpe running on the inside curve there, threatening a move on Quiles. That was never going to work out.
This is a part of the racetrack where it really does bunch up. A stadium section, a bit of a car park section as far as these Moto3 bikes are concerned, because there are so many parts of the circuit where you really can open them up and stretch the legs of these Moto3 machines, including here as we now begin to drop downhill to the lowest part, if you like, of this Brno circuit before we start climbing out of Schwartz Curve.
In that huge battle raging for 7th, there's now Ogden that's got himself to the head of it. Fair play to the Brit, who was running outside the top 10 at one stage, but all their battle battling has cut them over 4.5 seconds now back of this battle. So I think it's fair to say it's any one of the 6 we're looking at on screens right now. Almansa, Quiles, Carpe, Danish, Fatama still right in the thick of it. So too is Brian Uriarte.
Almansa already a winner this season, won the opening Grand Prix in Buriram. Quiles has done plenty of winning this season. Carpe, of course, still chasing that maiden victory. He's already seen his teammate Brian Uriarte break his duck just a couple of races ago. Carpe, his motivation will be extremely high to end that run today.
Well, we've never had an Indonesian win at any level in World Championship racing. It's 10 years since Khalid Ampawi was Malaysia's last Moto3 winner at the Sachsenring in 2016. Almansa knew he had to be really strong on the brakes there to fend off and repel any attacks from Quiles and Carpe behind him, although he runs a little bit wide, cuts across the curve there. Now that might give Quiles and Carpe an opportunity to gobble him up on the brakes into turn 3. Indeed they do.
Pick a line, any line, boys. Pratama was in danger of getting detached from that, but of course, as they've all bunched up, it's just bringing Pratama back into play again. He was back into 206s last time around. Looked like there was contact there as they went through turn 4, and it was that Carpe who lost that. It was Uriarte who lost that.
Yeah, Almansa lost that big time. Big time. He was leading at the start of this lap, and now Pratama, he lost all of his rhythm. I think it was Almansa that got squeezed on the outside, and now he's been pushed back to 6th place. Pratama was going to the car park there on the outside of 5, and that's allowed Almansa straight back through.
It's Danish who now runs 2nd, and perhaps most importantly, it's now Max Quiles that leads. So let's have a look. It's Carpe who goes wide and then goes up the inside, and Almansa's just supposed to jump out of the way, but they both lost time in the end. Carpe lost a place, Almansa lost several.
Yeah, Almansa, he'd have just had to briefly roll the throttle there. So Carpe came on through, so did Danish, so did Uriarte, and eventually, just one corner later in the braking zone, Pratama got back through. But as you can see, Almansa has got himself back up into P5. Marco Moroni then now fancying to the run at the front of that 2nd group. He's up into 7th, wasn't that long ago when I was looking at the time screens, and Moroni was down in about 18th or 19th place, so he's had a real strong charge as the Argentinian.
Yeah, he'll be cursing that crash on Friday, and then the poor strategy from himself or the team, whoever made the decision in qualifying 1 to only use 1 tyre. He was sitting in the pits thinking he was already through to Q2, and he got knocked all the way out of the top 4. Uriarte back up the inside of Hakim Danish. This chasing 5 behind Quiles recognise that they can't allow the 28 to get into his rhythm and start to stretch this group out.
Caught napping a little bit there, didn't he, Danish? The braking zone for 13, door was wide open for Uriarte to sweep on through. 6 laps to go then here in Brno. It's Quiles that leads. Carpe fancying a move on the inside of Danish. But a bit of a wobble there on the front end of that MT Helmets MSI machine, didn't it? Here is Quiles running through turn 2.
Quiles then on the way out of 3. It's good 3-rider slipstream potentially being built up here for Uriarte, who does go back into 2nd place. Once again, as soon as this pace picks up again, as Uriarte goes wide through 3, it just starts to detach Vader Pratama once again. I think Pratama is on his absolute limit, just trying to cling on to the 5 ahead of it.
Yeah, did he chew up those Pirelli tyres coming through from that lowly 20th place on the grid? Further back, it's a right old ding-dong going on, isn't it? For 7th place at the moment. Still, Morelli has that advantage. Kelso, Batelli, Alden, Cruz, says O'Shea, Samuel, Marcus Uriarte, for the injured David Munoz, Valentin Perrone, they're all still right in the thick of that big group.
Quiles' lead is a 1/3 of a second, and we saw in the previous lap Uriarte attacking Danish because he wants to be the rider to chase after Quiles to stop him from pulling clear, as Almansa now goes at the inside, that tighter line which might compromise him on the way out of the right-hander there of turn 9, and actually give Carpe a run at it, but Almansa tried to recover from that poor turn 4 incident a lap ago.
Yeah, Quiles is just trying to stretch this out, isn't he? He's just trying to pose some real serious questions to those 5 directly behind him, as Batelli comes from a long, long way back and lifts up Joel Kelso down into the Schwantz corner. What a fight this is. And this is the battle that's going from 7th down to, what, 14th, 15th place at the moment. You can see Perrone and Marcus Uriarte at the back of it. Outside of points scoring places right now are Adrian Fernandez, Ryusai Yamanaka. They're having a pretty good battle as well with Guido Pini. They're almost 1.5 seconds though back of Perrone in 15th.
Keeler's made a small error in that third sector. It's brought Danish right back onto his tail again. There are 6 laps of this Grand Prix remaining as we watch this second group. We cut back to the lead group, and Keeler's has been well and truly gobbled up again. And it is, once again, Danish and Uriarte going side by side there, squabbling over second place at the moment, and Danish is going to take that straight back again.
Well, we said that Keeler's was posing some serious questions. Danish had the answer on that last lap. His best lap of the Grand Prix so far at 2:05.146. Those Malaysian fans are going to be going crazy, aren't they, over in Kuala Lumpur and throughout Malaysia, because Hakim Danish is right in the battle here, right in the hunt for his maiden Grand Prix victory, although he loses second place there to Brian Uriarte.
And fair play to Pratama too. He did a 2:05.208 on the last lap, so he's doing his level best, trying to get towed along. You can just see it clinging on at the back of this 6-rider group as Danish is clinging on to third place. Almanza now back into fourth. Almanza, of course, that mistake a couple of laps ago, he's still trying to recover. Is he just saving something for these final 4.5 laps?
Tight at the top, the lap time gap between Danish and Almanza was 1,000th of a second. Just about hanging on to this lead group, isn't he? Here's Pratama. He is digging deep here. He's keeping himself in those low 2:05s. Still really in 7th place, as you can see on the timer tower on the left-hand side of your screens, as we power down towards turn 10. Real heavy braking zone this one, and Danish has been brilliant there. Through he goes on Uriarte, he picks up Uriarte, door wide open for Almanza, also had to sweep on through. So Brian Uriarte, 2nd to 4th in that turn 10.
Yeah, Carpe sees the opportunity too. Of course, if you give one rider an opportunity in Moto3, there are always going to be 3 or 4 others looking to punish you further. Carpe with no teammate mentality there. He's thinking for himself as he wants a first victory. He's now up to 4th.
Danish P1 on Friday. Fairy tale though, wouldn't it, if he was P1 on the most important part of the weekend here on Sunday. In the Sunday sunshine at the Grand Prix of Czechia. Out of the final corner we go. There's going to be 4 laps to go here in Brno very shortly. It is still Max Keeler that leads your runaway World Championship leader. Just over a tenth he was clear of Danish in second place. He's under pressure here from Almanza, who gets the door slammed right shut in his face through the first corner. Slightly offline though goes Danish, and that has allowed Almanza through.
Yeah, Almanza does favour that tighter line, which often compromises his run out of 3. They've all been able to do sort of squabble over who chases Keeler, but as of yet, nobody has really been able to attack Max Keeler, so he's so comfortable in this kind of situation, leading Grand Prix as Ayo once again go on the attack. This time it's Uriarte trying to pass Danish.
Did briefly get through, didn't he? But he was getting a little bit duffed up here as Almanza and Keeler then go side by side. They almost touch elbows as they drop down. Then now into turn 5. Almanza trying to find that inside line. There is no way through though, is there? Keeler's resolute in his defence at the front.
Almanza's been the one who's been able to throw the punches in the direction of Keeler's, but Keeler's has been able to roll with them so far. Pratama, far from getting dropped, he's now getting stuck into this leading group again. He's taken Carpe, who's now at the back of the train.
Strong on the road to MotoGP programs. How good is the now Moto4 Talent Cup system over in Asia? Danish and Pratama, products of that great system, on course potentially for their first milestone Grand Prix wins here. They've got a big job there, haven't they, to get ahead of Almanza and in particular Max Keeler's. This time around, Danish is not able to find a way through on the brakes down in the turn 10, slightly wide. Got to be careful though on that dirty part of the circuit. There goes Pratama. Carpe not able to take advantage though.
Of course, if the flag comes out now and we're only 3 and a bit laps away from it, this would do serious damage to Alvaro Carpe in the World Championship and would certainly benefit Keeler. It's 25 points potentially for victory, and at the moment Carpe only on course for 10 points in 6th.
Keeler was 2nd in the Grand Prix here 11 months ago last July. He's going to be desperate to win here in Brno. It's one of our most iconic classic Grand Prix venues, isn't it? He is edging, creeping ever closer to yet another win in 2026. He will lead the field out of the final corner. 3 laps to go then now shortly here in Brno. Keeler from Almanza under pressure here from Uriarte in the braking zone into the first corner. Attacking late there was Uriarte. Can he get it stopped? Is he going to run a little bit wide? Of course he is. Almanza then moves straight back through. Oh, that's aggressive by Danish as Almanza took the inside line for Uriarte in the first corner. Left the door open for Danish and he pounced.
Carpe is going to take it too. I think Uriarte is going to be 5th by the time they arrive at turn 3. Uriarte put a beautiful move on Danish into the penultimate corner to move into 3rd place, but all of that hard work undone by the error at turn 1.
Still, it is Keeler's at the front. Pratama there, stuck in a Red Bull KTM sandwich at the moment. We're looking back to the number 9, the Honda Team Malaysia rider, the only Honda rider in with a shout of winning here in Brno. As we drop down into the braking zone at 4.5, trying to brake as late as he possibly could there. And Uriarte, well, you could see that was coming. What he was in his mind there was to try and sort of cut an outside line downhill into 5, and then through 6 he's got Bratama. Now through 7 he's got Carpe. This is beautiful by the 51 once again.
And Danish did the same thing on Almansa to retake second place, which he's been for quite a lot of the last 4 or 5 laps or so. But we haven't yet seen Danish have a proper dig at Max Quiles, the World Championship leader and long-time race leader. Does Danish have something extra on his sleeve to claim that first win?
Oh, Uriarte's come from a long, long way back there to find a way through on Almansa. Once again, Almansa gets picked up, and that has also allowed Carpe to come back through. Bratama now right on his rear tyre as we go into turn 11. Yeah, Danish picking a fight with Max Quiles, and that's not an easy proposition, as it's proven to be so far in our opening 8 Grand Prix in Moto3 in 2026. Up horsepower hill we go once again then. Danish just eases to the inside line. Is he close enough to attack Quiles on the brakes? No, not quite close enough.
It's very much a momentum circuit, this, isn't it? Especially on a Moto3 bike. If you make a mistake through one of these slower second gear corners, it's going to impact you all the way up the next long straight. And as we see in Moto3, there are often 4 or 5 riders ready to punish you. We are on to the penultimate lap, and it is still the World Championship leader hanging on. 2
to go. Danish gets picked up by Uriarte into the first corner. Uriarte is able to run that tight inside line, so Danish could not dish out some instant retaliation. So Uriarte, just Danish having to check up there a little bit as Uriarte's move sort of compromises exit speed a little bit on that fast sweep through turn 2.
2 and 3 now for Red Bull KTM Io. Uriarte second, and now Carpe into third. Carpe knows he needs to attack now. Danish isn't going to let him attack. He's back into third place. They're all trying to jockey for position to be the best place possible going on to the final lap.
This is pressure. This is massive pressure on Max Quiles. He tends to never crack. He tends to never buckle. He's been brilliant for so much at the front of this Grand Prix. Here he goes, Uriarte. Oh, tried to seize that inside line going through 6. There was no way through. Through 7 we go then. Quiles still has a very narrow, a very slender advantage over Uriarte. Danish still there in third. Any one of 6 still, any one of these top 6 could still win this Brno Grand Prix.
You mentioned earlier on how short the main straight is here. It's not the kind of main straight here where you can slipstream down to the line. Well, you can, but it is very, very difficult to achieve it. Not as easy as it would be as Mugello, for instance. So you probably want to be leading out of the final corner on that final lap.
Oh, Carpe's gone wild. I don't know if he lost the front there, down the hill into turn 10. My eyes were drawn to Bratama, who was going on the inside of Almansa. Not a good lap this is. Almansa running out of grip because of that sort of mistake by Carpe, and then Bratama picking up Almansa has just given a bit of daylight between these top 3 then now. Quiles powers up horsepower hill. His closest rivals now Uriarte and Danish.
This could easily close up again if this 3 engage with each other, which they are surely going to. But Uriarte, as good as he's been on the brakes in this Grand Prix, couldn't get up alongside Max Quiles. 1 more lap to go for this 6-way fight to shake itself out.
How aggressive was Bratama to change directions. He flicked it right into the final corner. The final lap underway then here in what's been another Brno classic in Moto3. Uriarte levels. Quiles on the brakes into the first corner,
squeeze.
coming from a long, long way back. There comes Danish. So Quiles then, with all to do, back in third place as we start this final lap. It's Uriarte that leads, Danish second.
Uriarte made absolutely no stats there about where he was putting Max Quiles. Quiles, though, now will have the 2-bike slipstream. Uriarte was trying to hug the left-hand side of the racetrack to block any move at the inside. Quiles does got the inside, but only at Danish. He's back in a second.
Straight back through then on Danish in 3. 10 corners left. He's trying to find that tight inside line through. Look at the bumping and barging going on between Almansa, Carpe and Uriarte. That's going to, Bratama, that's going to be really, really hindering their progress for the podium here.
So Uriarte then will lead us around turn 5. 9 corners to go of this Grand Prix. Danish, it's going to take something special from Danish to get into the picture there. Quiles trying to line up a move into turn 6. The door slammed shut in his face.
Is there anything left for Bratama, Carpe and Almansa? We saw Bratama run wide going through turn 5. He's now back at the back of this group of 6. Oh, Quiles and Danish, they're all over the rear tyre, aren't they here? Of Uriarte.
Oh, contact!
Contact! And Danish could be the big winner out of all this. He's taken massive profit from the contact between Uriarte and Quiles. Hakim Danish has been no Malaysian winner in the Moto3 World Championship in 10 years. Oh, he goes sideways, desperately trying to break as late as he can for the Trump's corner. He does hit the apex, and Danish now about 4 or 5 bike lengths clear of Quiles. Is Quiles running out of time?
That's also brought Almanza back into the mix. Almanza at the inside of Uriarte, and from nowhere, he's back into the podium spots.
Now, it's all about the drive and about horsepower hill. Is that over for Max Quiles in terms of victory hopes? He might even be on the podium here.
Got this.
Max Quiles, Hakim Danish trying to get up horsepower hill. Contact behind him. This all playing into the hands of the Malaysian. Eddie O'Shea crashed out late on the final lap. Hakim Danish then through the final corner. This has been magic from the Malaysian. He's come from 14th on the grid, and for the first time in 10 years, we're going to have a Malaysian winner in the Moto3 World Championship. Danish does the business in Brno. What a performance, what a ride, what a last lap. What a Grand Prix once again in Moto3. Danish wins by almost half a second. Max Quiles does somehow get himself back into the podium places. Brian Uriarte comes out of that epic late fight with that top 6 in second. Almanza from pole is 4th. Batama is 5th. Carpe takes 6th. But Hakim Danish, what a performance. He thought he was starting this Grand Prix on the front row of the grid for just the 3rd time in his career, busted with a 12th place grid penalty, but he has done a number on the Moto3 field here. There was late drama, there was late contact aplenty, wasn't there? But take nothing away. Hakim, your hero in the Grand Prix of Czechia.
Well, there were euphoric scenes back in his home of Malaysia when he got on the podium a couple of races ago. Just imagine what they'll be like in Malaysia right now into the early evening back in Hakim's home, as they have a Moto3 winner, as you say, for the first time in practically a decade. And it's very rare that we say this, but you have to say Max Quiles kind of messed that up on the final lap by making contact with Brian Uriarte, because they came round turn 9, that opened the door, and Danish was happy to jump through it.
This was a late drama. The contact there, was he being a little bit too impatient there? Max Quiles, that was vital. We said the big winner at that stage was Danish. The contact